everybody, John12 back here again with another video, and I'm here to give you another Dragon Ball Super episode review. I'm here to review Dragon Ball Super episode 10, and of course, if you've not seen this episode, please go check it out, because this review may contain spoilers. Now, of course, before I get into my review, I wanted to mention real quick something. I'm very under the weather this morning, so obviously if I sound very odd to you over the course of this review, if you're watching this currently, then that's pretty much why. It's rare. It's very early in the morning as I'm recording this, and I'm very not in, good health, if you will. But because I'm such a hardcore Dragon Ball fanboy, I have to talk about Dragon Ball Super. I have to talk all things Dragon Ball, even when I'm sick or being tormented by unhealth. I still gotta talk about Dragon Ball. It's inevitable. So regardless of any of that, I'm still here to give you a review. But with all my personal nonsense out of the way, let's get into some actual Dragon Ball Super content. Now, first off, let's point out the obvious. Does this episode do justice to the movie? Because let's face facts, there's been lots of controversial comments being put out there over fans, or alleged fans as I like to call them, as people who are downright despising and hating on Dragon Ball Super. Now, I'm all for, it's all fair game, and you can fucking talk shit if you want, but like I said with the prior review that I did last week, talking about episode 9, if you don't like what Dragon Ball Super has been offering as of late, watch the movie. Because the show, as of right now, all they're doing is recapping the movie, so of course if you don't like what the show's done so far, don't stop watching the show, watch the movie, and then once the show starts putting out episodes that are post Battle of Gods and like some original content after the events of, once we're done with this, let's just put it out there, once we're done with the Goku versus Beerus story arc, and we get into some new things, hopefully some Champa, and some, Universe 6 stuff, or whatever the fuck Toriyama and Toei Animation have planned, then let's see what you have to say about Dragon Ball Super. Because I feel like having some kind of criticism over the show right now, especially seeing as how we're just in the first arc of the show, is kind of unnecessary, because all it is just a recap of the movie. So if you love the movie, then watch the movie. If you don't like the show, then just wait until they start putting out original content. But that being said, the episode itself is, of course, God Goku versus Lord Beerus, the rematch, God versus God. Freaking interesting. It's definitely it's definitely 10 times better than the first match. Let's put it out there. Episode 5 was a terrible episode because of its terrible animation, and the fight was just god-awful. There's no defending it. I'm a hardcore fan. I can't defend it. I mean, like, maybe there's, like, a few parts in that shit that's, like, okay, but it's just dog shit. It just sucks the fat one. There's no denial in that. But this episode definitely does a better job at recapping the fight of Goku versus Beerus than that episode. Which I have to say, kudos to Toei Animation for at least trying their best to do a good job at Goku versus Beerus. I mean, like, let's face it, they knocked out of the park with the movie, so it's not like they had any kind of real competition. But because this show is recapping the movie, they're competing with themselves. And they're ironically doing a terrible job at it, but whatever. When it comes to Dragon Ball Super, you have to grow to love the style of animation that they've done for the show. So it's just one of those things. Like, you just have to be a part of the show, or at least a hardcore fan, or at least a moderate fan of Dragon Ball, to really like and appreciate what they've done so far. But just in comparison to what they've done on the show so far, this is definitely superior. I also really like the little bits that they keep talking about God powers, and specifically what Goku could possibly be capable of in the future, which is very interesting, because this is definitely a warm-up match. If you've seen the episode, you know what I mean. This is definitely going to be a two-parter fight, which kind of sucks. I wish it was just like jam-packed into one episode, because I want to see some of that original content. That's just me. But it was still kind of cool to see them talk and go back, their banter rather, of discussing what Goku is possibly capable of. Because the movies were incapable of going more in detail as to what God mode could really do. Super Saiyan God mode could really do. We already know that obviously Goku's much more stronger. He's a lot more powerful, and he's a lot faster. But what can he really do other than just those specific things? Hopefully Super does a good job at giving us details on that. Another really good thing I have to point out is that Shenron, in the prior episode, didn't really do a good job at explaining or giving out the logistics of what Super Saiyan God mode is. So hopefully with the show, they go a little more detail as to what Goku could do, can do, possibly can do, and hopefully there is no time limit, because let's just, like, that was the number one thing I despised about God mode in the movie, is that it had a time limit. I mean, it doesn't matter anyways. I mean, like, in the way that Toriyama put it, even with Super Saiyan God mode, Goku is completely inferior in comparison to Lord Beerus's power. So we have to see what happens with the show. The show is kind of like, at least with this episode, it's kind of like giving out the gist that Goku may not be capable of defeating Beerus, but he definitely will be on par with Beerus. And it definitely shows with this warm-up fight in the episode. Like, there's that wonderful shot where, like, Goku gives him, like, a good few punches, and then, like, there's that one shot where Beerus attacks him, and then, like, spoilers, he grapples him, and then just taps him on the head as, like payback for, like, episode 5, which was a great nod on the head, no pun intended. Fucking awesome. I love that moment. It was definitely the highlight of this episode. Really cool, funny moment. Based off what I've seen so far, and of course teasers for next week's episode, this fight is definitely going to be much more comedic and much more cartoony in comparison to the movie, which I have no real qualms with, although I wish it was definitely a little bit more pristine like in the movie. But once again, like I said prior, it's just one of those love or hate things you have to grow to understand with Dragon Ball Super, and of course the style of artwork and animation that they've done with the show. So that's just another thing that's kind of like a little, nugget of like nitpicky kind of attitude, but it's just one of those things. Also really interesting is the behind the scenes kind of action that's going on. I really liked Bulma's banter. I like that moment where Vegeta stops her from like cursing out Beerus. Pretty funny moment. Also very interesting to hear everyone else talk and discuss what's really going to go down. I also really appreciated and loved the moments with Whis and the Pilaf gang. Originally I thought, like, God, why are we wasting so much time on the Pilaf gang eating? You got Goku. Like, that's the weird thing about Dragon Ball Universe. Like, everyone is just gonna be okay. It's like, it's alright. Hey, like little Marin and freaking Bulma's mom. They're happy. Everyone's happy. It's like, it's okay. It's like, we're just gonna watch. It's like, that's kind of like the attitude. It's kind of a weird mentality to have if you're a Dragon Ball character. It's like, I want to know how it must feel to be a part of that gang and live in that world where it's like, it's alright, Goku, he got it. Exit strategy. We'll think about that later. Fuck it. It's like, he got this. He got this. He's a Super Saiyan God. We're gonna go eat. Fuck the world. Fuck it. We got the Dragon Balls. Fuck you. I don't know. It's just a weird mentality where, like, everybody's okay, especially Bulma's mom. Like, there's some, I don't know if it's, like, a specific animator's fault or, like, someone's fault, but, like, why is she always happy all the time? That just, it freaks me out sometimes. Like, what is the doctor putting in her drinks? I want to know. I know it's completely inferior in the big picture. I mean, like, she's a background character for the love of Mike, but come on. It's just kind of weird how, like, background characters have this weird attitude of, like, it's okay. Like, the mentality is just very weird. I'm just saying, it just makes you think sometimes, like, if you're a hardcore fan, where it's like, what makes you have this mentality to feel like it's okay to be happy? I guess that's the beauty of Dragon Ball, where it's like, even in dark times, in the darkest moments, whenever Goku's around, you just have that little hope of, like, everything's alright, it's okay. It's alright to be fun and entertaining and campy sometimes because he's here. Everything's gonna be cool. I guess that's the beauty of Dragon Ball overall, but I just kind of find it weird sometimes where it's like, how are you so happy? It's impossible. There's a god. His title is Destruction, God of Destruction, and it's okay to be like, let's just eat. I'm gonna have lunch with Whis. That's it. That's it. That's all I can really say about that. But hell, but aside with the banter, hysterical. I like the moment. Pilaf Gang ending with the Pilaf Gang was just the icing on the cake of this episode. It was definitely a very entertaining, fun episode. Very campy, very cartoony, almost like a Simpsons. This is like the Simpsons episode of Dragon Ball Super. I just feel, especially with the crude, cartoony kind of style of animation, it just fits, and I like that. I'm very. I say kudos to them for trying to do something a little more different in comparison to the movie. Of course, it's basically the movie, but this is a much more campier, kind of cartoony kind of style version, and I'm alright with that because I have the movie. I can just, if I want more serious version, I'll just watch the movie. But I liked what Super, or at least what they tried to attempt with Super, and that ending with just like the Pilaf Gang just passed out sleeping. Very funny ending moment. But overall, if I had to give this rating, if I had to rate this episode rather, I give it a good solid 7 out of 10. It was a good, solid, entertaining, fun episode. Not the best episode so far we've gotten, but once again, Dragon Ball Super, as people would say, has been very fillerific. It's been, it's filler amongst filler. However, I just can't wait until we're done with the Goku versus Beerus thing, and we can get some Universe 6, some fucking Lord, some God Champa, some fucking hardcore original content from the man himself, the legend himself, Toriyama. I can't wait to see that shit. I really want to see what goes down in this show beyond Goku versus Beerus. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I hope it's soon. That's all I can really say. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was very entertaining, very fun. Can't wait to see what Goku can really do as a god. Hope there's no time limit. I really can't wait. I really hope the fight ends next week, and hopefully beyond that we get original content. But beyond that, overall, entertaining episode. Let me know what you personally think in the comment section below. What are your personal thoughts on episode 10? What are your personal thoughts on God Mode versus the movie version? And your overall thoughts on Dragon Ball Super as a whole. The controversy that so-called fans hate comments have been, getting towards. What are your personal thoughts on that? Overall, comment below. Let me know what you personally think. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JohnSk12. Subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and this has been JohnSk12.